This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Big Ten champions.
National champions, yes. The Ducks take home an indoor national title.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Scott Phillips is fired up today because it's Oregon softball game day. Postseason Diamond Sports officially begin today. The Ducks taking on Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. Just had UCLA score a interesting run in the bottom of the seventh inning, and that means the Bruins are advancing. Feels like postseason softball right now because the Ducks will be in action at 1:30. I'm thinking about it, but also, like, that's what it is. They got the bases loaded, slow roller back to the pitcher, they win the game. I mean, we are at the point in the season for both softball and baseball where it doesn't matter how you win. There's no more of this, well, you want to get better as you go. You want to peak at the right time. No. This is now you win, you find a way to win. The only thing that matters is getting the win, just like Oregon baseball did last night. We'll break that down before the rivalry weekend is here against Washington coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But Duck softball, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, the Ducks throw the first pitch against Michigan at 1:30. KWVA, the student radio station here at the University of Oregon, will have the hometown call. It's also televised on Big Ten Network. Tune in to Saul Galvan, though, if you're running around. Get that hometown call for Oregon and Michigan coming up in West Lafayette, Indiana. Purdue is hosting it this year. Oregon softball game day. We'll also talk with Mark Wazakowski, hear from Chase Megers, Julian Hernandez following the win over St. Mary's last night. FanFest coming up for Oregon baseball this weekend. More on that coming up. And today we will review the Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling season. Head coach Taylor Susnara will be with us to break everything down. Now, before we get into baseball and softball and some honors for Riley McCoy, exciting announcement today. We've been working on this for a while. A zero latency stream option for our broadcast. What does that mean? Essentially, Austin Oda is in the studio today, and he's excited about this. Which, by the way, triumphant return to the studio for OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire Austin Oda today. He'll have the Big Ten Plus call of Oregon baseball against Washington this weekend. Was on the call last night for those of you who tuned into the TV broadcast. But this zero latency stream will allow basically everyone in an Oregon athletics venue to tune into our OSN broadcast in real time. We tested it at Oregon baseball a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you, the ping of the bat was almost instantaneous. Like, within 0.2 seconds delayed from you hear the ping of the bat through our microphone, you hear it in your headphones as you're listening. Essentially, this will turn everybody's phone into the old school transistor radio. So as I'm talking right now, if you were connected with your headphones to our zero latency stream and you were sitting here in the studio, it would be almost instant. It's really cool, and we were able to do it for Oregon athletic venues thanks to a partnership with a company called Sportsbug, Learfield. We've been able to now test it. We're going to deploy it heading into next season. So if you're ever at Autzen Stadium and you used to be the person that would have the transistor radio and you'd listen to Jerry and Jorgie, now your phone is that transistor radio. We will have it within the Varsity Network app. That's our app that powers all of our stream broadcasts, similar to the Go Ducks app. It's really awesome. We're going to have it this year. I will tell you that, hey, it's a first year. So if you have feedback when we have our broadcasts from Autzen Stadium, for example, coming up on August 30th, check it out. See what you think. We are all, I will just be totally honest with you, we're all thinking about the cell service at Autzen Stadium. The audio stream doesn't take a whole lot of service. So if you get in during the pregame show, it's going to be pretty instantaneous. You can listen to Jerry and Jorgie on the call as you're sitting there at Autzen Stadium. Listen to me or Chris at Matthew Knight Arena. Listen to me and Ryan when you're at PK Park for Oregon baseball. Our hope is that it kind of brings back, for those of you that liked the transistor radio approach when you were sitting in the stands, you get to do that a little bit with this zero latency stream. I've been calling it, for lack of a better description, no delay play-by-play at our venues. And I was really impressed. I'll be honest with you all. I was really impressed when we tested it at Duck Baseball, just how fast and how well it worked. Your phone's going to become a transistor radio. You basically already, it does everything that you'd want a transistor radio to do and much more. So that's what we're going to launch here coming up. And there's more details if you're interested to read about it via the UO Sports Network at UO Sports Network X platform. I put the release there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all works. I hope that everyone enjoys it. Softball today against Michigan, and the honors continue to roll in for Riley McCoy. Thursday, she was named one of 10 finalists for the 2025 NFCA National Freshman of the Year Award. She's just the third Duck to make the NFCA's top 10 list. She joins Jenna Lilly in 2015 and Maggie Ballant in 2017. Nationally among all freshmen, McCoy is first in slugging percentage, 5th in home runs, 7th in RBI, and 11th in batting average. I think she's got a good chance to win this award. In the Big Ten, McCoy is 9th in home runs and 8th in slugging percentage. She's 2nd on the team and 14th in the Big Ten in batting average. Last week against Michigan State, she extended her Oregon freshman record with her 16th and 17th home runs of the season. She's now just 2 shy of the overall Oregon record of 19 that was set by Anne-Marie Topps in 2007. In postseason play, she may very well get to the Oregon overall home run record. Has already set the freshman record, may get to the overall home run record. And wouldn't it be cool in a season where Mason Neville has shattered the single-season record for home runs for Oregon baseball, is the national leader still heading into this weekend? You have Riley McCoy chasing the home run record on the softball diamond. Pretty cool to see the power surge from these two teams that both are right now bona fide top 10 teams in the country. It's been fun at PK Park. It's been fun at Jane Sanders Stadium, and hoping there's some postseason games at both of those facilities here coming up. Top-seeded Oregon opens the Big Ten tournament today against number 8 seed Michigan. It's on Big Ten Network. Saul Galvan's got the hometown call on KWVA. And on May 22nd, that Freshman of the Year list will be trimmed to 3. The winner will be revealed on May 27th, prior to the start of the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. Riley McCoy up for the National Freshman of the Year honor. And I'm telling you, I think she's got a good chance to win it. Certainly some more home runs here in the Big Ten tournament would help, but she has been excellent all season long. I think she's in line to potentially be the winner of the most outstanding freshman in the entire country. Now, as we were getting off the air yesterday, Oregon women's golf was wrapping up their regional, and now we've got more details on what was a truly historic day for Oregon women's golf. Led by a dominant performance from Kiara Romero, the Oregon women's golf team won the NCAA Gold Canyon Regional yesterday afternoon. The Ducks are officially headed to the 2025 NCAA Championships. Number 5 Ducks shot their best round of the week with a 700-281 in the final round to win the tournament by 9 strokes, securing the second NCAA regional victory in program history. Kiara Romero followed up her Oregon record 10 under 62 from Tuesday in round 2 with a 4 under 68 on Wednesday to win individual medalist honors by 7 strokes at 16 under par. Individual champ in the regional, Kiara Romero. Team champ in the regional, Derek Radley's Oregon Ducks. Oregon advances to NCAA championships for the 14th time in program history and 4th time in the last 5 years. The Ducks will return to Omni La Costa Resort and Spa in Carlsbad, California. Doesn't sound like too bad of a place to spend May 16th through 21st. After advancing through NCAA stroke play and reaching the match play semifinals there last spring. Yeah, the Ducks were at this same course last spring. They're familiar with it. and they're proud of the season that they've put together. According to Derek Radley, they didn't come here with the mindset of just finishing in the top 5. They wanted to make a statement. Really pleased with the way our whole lineup performed today. It's not easy to get back to the NCAA championships, and these ladies have earned it. We're excited to get back to Carlsbad and see what we can do next week. That's Derek Radley talking about advancing to the NCAA championships. Kiara Romero has now made 124 birdies this season. That's the most in program history. Golf clap. Well done, everyone in the studio. You know the record that she broke? It was her own. She set a record last year for the most birdies in program history, and now she has broken that record and has 124 and counting. Coach Radley said this, and I think it sums up the season that she's had. What can you say about Kiara Romero at this point? Yep, that pretty much sums it up. She's just on another level. The combination of talent, confidence, and composure she has is incredible, especially at such a young age. Just an unbelievable performance by her this week to lead us, and I'm so excited to see what she can do at Nationals. That's Derek Radley talking about Kiara Romero. The Big Ten golfer of the year. She may end up being the individual national champion. She's finished second in 3 tournaments. Now suddenly she's won the Big Ten, was clear by a few strokes. She won the regional, clear by a few strokes. The way that it works in the NCAA championships, there are 3 rounds of stroke play. Then the field trims to 15 teams for the 4th round of stroke play. At the conclusion of the 4th round of stroke play, the field gets trimmed to 8. That sets the match play pairings. Also, after those 4 rounds, the individual champion is crowned. So Kiara Romero might be the individual champion, and that could propel the Ducks to the match play round of the NCAA Golf Championships. Congratulations to Oregon women's golf. Season continues. We're hoping to chat with Derek Radley next week before they head to Carlsbad. Talking about golf as well, Oregon men's golf is in action on Monday in their regional. Casey Martin's team advancing. They will again be in the Southeast, and we'll break all that down for you on Monday as the Ducks will travel over the weekend, get acclimated to the different grasses, different golf courses in the Southeast. They'll be in the Auburn regional coming up here on Monday. Timeout. When we return, zeroing in more on Oregon baseball. We'll chat with a few players and Mark Wasikowski, of course, after the Ducks' 8-1 win yesterday. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
There are always two conversations that happen on every broadcast. There's the one that goes on live on the air. Then there's the other that we just pick up when we go to commercial break or we play an interview or something like that. And there is no one that exemplifies that more than one Austin Oda, who always has multiple conversations at any point here in the studio. We were just discussing Oregon baseball, though, and how exciting it's going to be this weekend because Washington's in town. The Ducks are hunting for a Big Ten championship, a chance to make up some ground on the conference leaders. Ducks are within striking distance for the regular season crown. And Washington's hot on Oregon's heels. Huskies are a team that's played better in conference play than they have out of conference. And so in large part due to their pitching. They've been one of the best pitching staffs in conference games alone. So for the Ducks, their own pitching staff, it's amazing to think about this, has improved significantly to the point where the Ducks are now actually right there as one of the best pitching staffs statistically in Big Ten play. An 8-1 win last night, a 6-run, 6th inning for the Ducks that was really punctuated, I thought, by a hustle play from Chase Megers and Carter Garade. So Chase Megers hits what could easily just be a ground out to the first baseman. Maybe you score a run on a bases loaded ground out. Instead, Chase Megers digs hard out of the box. He legs it out to first base. The Ducks not only score one run, they end up scoring a second run on the play because Carter Garade recognized that maybe he could sneak to home plate. He did just that. The Ducks score 2 runs because Chase Megers chose to dig hard out of the box instead of just dogging it, jogging to first base. And Carter Garade read the play, scored all the way from second on an infield single. Look, I know this is a little cliche, and I said this on our post-game show last night, but that's what good teams do. Good teams, even when you've been retired or you haven't had a hit in the last few innings, Ducks went, 14, Austin, you'll remember, 14 batters, I think, without a hit. A few walks in there, right? But the Ducks hadn't gotten the offense really going the last few innings. So when that's going on, what do? You leg out an infield single that scores 2. To me, that's like the ultimate. A coach points to that and says that's what a good team does, right? Like the Little League coach that we all grew up with, the high school coach that we grew up with is going to point to that and say, that's why you don't jog to first base. Again, I know this sounds a little cliche, but to me, that's what has separated Oregon baseball this year. A day where the offense wasn't clicking the way they would like against 8 different pitchers for St. Mary's. A staffed game really on both sides. Boy, that's impressive. And that's what you have to do to win games like that. I think the pitching has been the last 3 weeks the real turning point. The last 3 weeks, the pitching staff has a sub-3 ERA. It wasn't sub-3 before that. That's the difference. The way that Oregon has deployed the bullpen. And then what a cool moment for Julian Hernandez here this weekend. Heading into this weekend. He throws 3 innings of 5 strikeout, no-run baseball. Then Ryan Featherston relieves him for 3+ innings of work. The Ducks hand the ball to the bullpen. They're successful. Tanner Bradley's second appearance and does the job. Needed that on a Wednesday. When you play a Tuesday, Wednesday midweek series, the pitching staff depth will be tested. Oregon was up to the task. Great to see it. Mason Neville. He drew 3 walks to move into second all-time in single-season base on balls. That's not the award or the single-season record that we often sit here and talk about. Walks. But at the top of Oregon's lineup, he's the national leader in home runs, and he's about to break a record that was set by a guy who won Conference Player of the Year. Aaron Zavala set the walks record at 50 the year he was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. Mason Neville in the regular season, it's still early May, looks like he's going to break that before postseason play even gets here. That speaks to a few things. One, I think the growth in his plate discipline. Hasn't been swinging out of his shoes all the time trying to hit home runs, which the national leader, hey, You got the power, but he has taken walks and been on base so much for Oregon this year. He needs 2 more walks to set a new Oregon record, and he scored twice more in last night's game to move his season total to 63 runs scored. That's also 1 shy of tying for second all-time and 5 away from setting a new single-season record. Leadoff guy, national leader in home runs, may set an Oregon single-season record for both walks and runs scored after he's already set the record for home runs. Modern baseball, you have that guy hit leadoff. It's worked out for the Ducks. Chase Megers, Drew Smith, Maddox Maloney all drove in 2 runs. And you talk about the pitching. And maybe here's the biggest takeaway from the midweek series. Oregon's 4 pitchers did not issue a walk in the contest last night. That's the first time that the Ducks have not issued a walk this season as a pitching staff. Oregon staff had allowed just 1 walk on 5 previous occasions this year. The last time Oregon did not issue a walk was when Ian Umlaut tossed a complete game at San Francisco last season. Throwing strikes, letting your defense work, these are all the normal baseball keys to the game. Oregon's offense has been pretty darn good over the course of the season. The national numbers all tell you that. Now if Oregon's pitching staff keeps up what they've been doing the last 3 weeks, maybe even getting better when guys that haven't been on the mound for as many appearances yet this season are the ones that go out there and don't issue a walk for the first time all year, look out for Duck baseball. They're currently in the projections. A lot of the organizations that do the Field of 64 projections, Ducks are a regional host now and still in the hunt for a Big Ten championship. Overall, a pretty happy Mark Wasikowski postgame. The Oregon baseball head coach, every time we talk with him, it's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center, better cancer care close to home. Mark Wasikowski breaking down a win over St. Mary's last night.
To win it today and take a serious sweep.
Well, we haven't played midweeks consistently well throughout the year, and for us to show now that we're able to handle midweek games, these guys are they got a big week in front of them as well with Gonzaga. They're going to Gonzaga this weekend, and they're trying to win their conference. They're kind of in the thick of things with that, and they got a good ball club. So I was happy to see us win 2 games in midweek.
You guys obviously won, so that won't do much for your RPI, whether help or hurt. But if you lost, it would have hurt. Just why play these games in this kind of college baseball where people are canceling kind of midweek games where they don't have to play opponents that'll hurt their RPI? Just why play these?
Well, the system's broken, so I'm not going to complain about the system being broken and start canceling games. I mean, if the geniuses can't figure out that the system's broken, the RPI's screwed up, and you shouldn't be canceling games. I mean, tonight was a great opportunity for guys to get a chance to play, right? And we got a chance to play in 2 really good baseball games. We got some guys we got a lot of experience out of those 2 games. And if we're canceling games because of, some magical RPI formula that is so messed up it's not even funny, we're taking opportunities away from student athletes that they deserve. That's why they came to the University of Oregon, is to play baseball. And so to take the opportunity to play baseball away from them for anything other than weather related or some sort of, act of God or any of those clauses that are in those contracts, I think is ridiculous. I think it's repulsive. And for me, the student athletes suffer when that happens. I don't fault the coaches. I fault the fact that the system isn't right. And until they get their arms around it and have the courage to make some changes to that, no, we're not going to cancel games. We're going to play the games that are on our schedule because I really respect the team that we just got done playing. They're a good team. They're trying to win a league championship. And then tonight, even all the way down to the last pitch of the game, to have Tanner Bradley pitching in the last inning, you see how good Tanner Bradley is, and without the opportunity to play that game tonight, he doesn't get a chance to pitch and show how good he really is. So I'm a big proponent of playing baseball.
What's the fix then for the system-wise? Is there something like you exempt a certain number of games from the RPI formula so that there are either geographic opportunities or just development opportunities that are built in part of it to where you just say, all right, they may count towards your overall ranking, but 5 games are exempt from the RPI or something?
That's a great, I'm not sure, James. I mean, that's a good suggestion. Those people can figure it out. My job is to hopefully win baseball games. I do think that it needs to be addressed by people that are smart with ideas that are smart like that, and they can pool it together and come up with the right plan, I think.
First time we've seen Tanner since I believe the Columbia series. What's been going on with him behind the scenes? He's been on the shelf for a while. What'd you like out of him tonight?
It's what we've liked about him now behind the scenes for several weeks, and we just, we haven't gotten him into some games. Some of those guys in back into the bullpen have been pitching exceptionally well. So Julian to get the start tonight and him to pitch exceptionally well. I mean, these are things that Coach Hawk is saying, hey, I want Julian to start because of what we're seeing in the bullpen. I want Tanner Bradley in the game because of what we're seeing in the work that we've been doing in the bullpen. So the development's occurring at a pretty high level, and you're seeing that. The pitches that Tanner was making and that Julian was making, that's really good stuff coming out of their hand, and it's located really well. I don't think we walked anybody tonight, and so as things got loose earlier in the season with pitching, I think we need to tip our hat and say well done, Coach Hawk and the pitching staff, because, with no walks tonight, I thought that was a tremendously pitched game.
Everyone can see that what Mason's doing by way of the long ball, that's obvious.
Yeah.
But is there any one stat or metric that either that we all see or the stuff that we don't see, the exit velo, some of the higher stuff that you guys see and know, that defines to you what he's doing this season compared to last season?
He's accountable now. He's accountable. He's doing the right things away from the baseball field. He's on time. He's practicing hard. He's doing the right things that are leading his athletic ability to be developed and grow. He's in the weight room and he's crushing it in the weight room. He at one point when we first got him, he wasn't a very strong guy. He had a great frame. He was super athletic. He was twitchy, but he wasn't very strong. He didn't have physicality to him, and he's worked to be able to do that. So he's held himself accountable. Some of his teammates have held him accountable, and you're seeing the development as he, just increased his standard for what he wanted to get out of himself. And so I credit him, and I really credit Mason for making the changes he needed to become the player that he is. And then, Coach Martyr's done a really good job of helping him with the swing and all those things with Brett Thomas with the analytics, helping him out with his swing plane.
For all you knew that you had to replace, obviously, in Bryce and other guys in the lineup, to move from the 6th or the 7th spot in the lineup to the role that he had last season to lead off every game, when did you know you're going to make him the guy who's not just leading off and setting the table, but who you want to get the most plate appearances because of everything he can do? When did you know, you were going to do that and you're going to be committed to that?
Jeez, I don't know if we ever really knew. Good question. I just felt like, let's start the game off with somebody that poses a big threat. And, if you flipped it and you said, okay, I'm on the other team, and who are the first 3 guys that I don't want to face in that order, then let's hit those first 3 guys, first, and make it uncomfortable for the visiting team. I think that was more or less the decision that we had and we made.
I know there's time to think about it between now and then, wise for him, but in his future, but in the bigger picture of college baseball and NIL and all these things are going on in the space, what does it take to keep a talent like that in college baseball now?
After his junior year, I don't know that you're going to be able to keep that kind of talent in college baseball after their junior year. It's their peak market value in college ball. And so, he potentially is looking at a 7-figure signing bonus at this point in time, and it could be a good 7-figure signing bonus. And so I guess, I don't know if it's realistic to keep guys like that who propel themselves into the first round, which is what he's earning by being a possible Golden Spikes Award type guy. But nevertheless, I think the guys that with NIL and the landscape of college baseball are the guys kind of like maybe a Jacob Walsh or a Chase Meggers or a Drew Smith or an Ansoneros or those kind of guys that, had chances to go out and play, and we were able to keep those guys, here. And you're seeing that those guys being older and a year older, there's a big difference between one year and the next. I think that's probably where the NIL helps our game out the most.
What did you make of Featherston tonight?
Rocky at the start, but he was throwing the ball over the plate. I think it was Rocky just from results. I don't think it was Rocky from what his stuff was doing. He got hit on the first 2 batters that he faced, and he settled in really nicely, and I think he did a really good job for us. He provided some length for us in the game. We took him out when we wanted to where he could be ready for the weekend as well. And I just thought he did a tremendous job of settling things down.
How was Dom health-wise? Obviously, Mason's DH, not playing center. You're not going to put Walsh on the bench, but how is he physically?
Dom, he's everybody we have is day-to-day.
Gets a double yesterday, double today, and throws a guy out at second. What do you like? what do you like from him specifically? But also guys that get little opportunity, but then really seize their opportunity once they get in there.
Well, I mean, the kid's a stud. I mean, he's a big, strong, physical kid that he's done really well with the small opportunities. He helped. On Friday night when we were at USC, beat their left-hander who's tremendous, and I think we talked about it last night. USC hasn't lost a series since we swept them at USC. And he helped us win that Friday night game off a really tough left-hander. He got to a left-hander last night. He got to a left-hander today, lead-off doubles, and he's a really good player. I think he's got a huge upside as a player.
With him kind of being the platoon option against lefty starters right now, and Burke being listed as a switch hitter, are you guys still just tinkering with his right-handed swing? What's been going on with Burke behind the scenes in that regard? And we've only seen him hit from the left this season, so.
Yeah, he's just hitting left-handed this season.
What's the development that you guys are looking to see from that, and getting the right-handed swing to where it's playable?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a longer story. Good question, but a little bit of a longer story.
Mark Wasikowski, Oregon baseball head coach, after the win over St. Mary's last night, now getting ready for Washington coming up on Friday at 6 o'clock. Timeout. When we come back, reviewing Oregon acrobatics and tumbling. A couple national titles for some individuals. We'll do that with Taylor Susnara after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling, the national runner-up, and a few individual titles for the Ducks as well. Earlier this week, I sat down with Taylor Susnara, Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling head coach, to review the season that was and look ahead to next year for Acro and Tumbling. Here's Taylor Susnara. End of season is always hard because it's hard to win the last one. There's only one team that ever wins the last one. However, in this sport that we're going to discuss now, you do get some final victories even on the Sunday. So that's fun. Taylor Susnara joins us. Hey, Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach. Thanks for being here to review the season. How was it? I know everyone, again, wants to win the last one, but it is cool that you get some individual titles after the team scenario comes to a close, right?
Totally. Yeah, that's what I love about our tournament with the NCATA at the end of the year, because while we did compete compete really well, and we made it to that final meet. We didn't get the championship title that we were hoping for, but we still had something to look forward to and something to work for going into event finals on Sunday. And thankfully, we were able to take home 3, which was awesome.
Yeah, so review that. Let's start with the positive. I mean, the 3 individual titles, that's pretty sweet.
It was amazing, and in the years that I've been here as a head coach, we've really dominated tumbling in the event finals. I would say we didn't have our best day in tumbling. However, we did take home the 6-element individual solo pass with Riley Watson.
Nice.
And that was her first year competing in a solo heat, and she absolutely crushed it. So that was just really kind of emotional for the team.
Cool.
Really happy for her. And then Acro 7, we've struggled in Acro event the last few years, and so to go and win that and a pyramid title was huge, and it felt really good to me because I'm like, okay, we're good, we're getting there, and kind of expanding our overall talent. So it was just really a fun experience for the girls and me.
Is it like a true, you mentioned like just getting better in those categories, like there are some very specifics that your sport, right, is, for lack of a better description, correct me if I'm wrong, like siloed, right?
Yeah.
And that you kind of have like a depth chart, right?
For sure.
So is this like the true litmus test for you of like, okay, this is where we are in each individual category?
Totally. How we do on event finals, you're obviously fatigued from the 3 meets
It's a long
prior.
few days. Yeah.
So sometimes you're not going to necessarily get the results that you're hoping for or the consistency that you've had. But looking at how we compete in each event and, the different titles that we bring home each year really kind of helps me evaluate where we need to put in a little extra work or maybe where we need to continue building our consistency. And it's just a fun atmosphere to be a part of event finals.
Taylor Susnara talking with Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling head coach. All right, so you got to the event finals as a team. It's the clash of titans every time, Coach. I mean, is that how it felt going into that matchup on Saturday?
It did. However, this matchup felt different than the rest. I think we were really confident going in. We weren't cocky, but we felt like we had a shot. And I think in previous years, we maybe lacked a little bit of that confidence. And so this meet felt a little heavier than normal for me as the coach, just because I knew that they could. And so when we didn't quite have the team event I was hoping for them to have, a little bit of emotion set in, and we kind of had that chat at the end, and we said, well, Baylor's gonna have to really mess up here for us to take out a win, which is not necessarily how you want to win a championship anyways. So I think we were all using it as a learning opportunity going into next year, and that when you're that close, you can't let it slip away, and you got to work a little bit harder in the fall and just throughout the season. But we left a family, so I think that was something really positive to take away from that.
Well, I mean, we talked even going into it, right? Like, okay, the 1 seed, the 2 seed, it's always Oregon, Baylor, right, in this sport is really the ones that have grown this sport so much, the institutions that have grown the sport so much. And I feel like it's always so difficult, I imagine, right, for a coach, because it's like, okay, you know what it's going to take, but then you're not the one that goes out there. And you were competing in these, like, how's that for you, Coach? Like, just that emotion, like that grit almost that you have on any given day, I suppose, but especially on a championship day.
Yeah, sometimes I feel on fire.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
In a good way, but, sometimes I'm like, all right, suit up, let's go. Not really, but, I think it helps that we've been in their shoes. All 3 of my, us coaches, JC and Carly, we know what it takes. We've been there. We know what to expect. We know that Baylor is well coached. They have a stacked staff. They're talented, so they've got that confidence. But I think for me, it just keeps making me want to work harder and harder and just perfect the craft that we have. And I think this year really showed that we're getting there, and we still have work to do. But I think that we have some really good recruiting skills, and I feel really excited about what's to come.
Yeah, I want to talk about the year ahead in just a little bit, but to put that in perspective for everybody, like winning these individual titles, that's a big deal. And then we've talked a lot about just the growth of the sport and the different ways that you compete. I mean, What's the next step? Like, what are those things that you've taken away now as you head into the next off season?
Yeah, I think overall strength is really, really important. I think the type of people that you bring into your program are extremely important, as cliche as that is. I have found that even if you don't have, the number one recruit in every single position coming into your program, as long as you have people that want to work really, really hard, I'm willing to bring them on and give them an opportunity to compete for us, because I have found that has been successful for me and for us as a program. This summer we're going out to all over the U.S. Because a lot of our recruits are on the East Coast, surprisingly. California sprinkled in there, Texas. But we're going to hit a lot of showcases and hopefully find some really good gymnasts, cheerleaders, acrobatic gymnasts. So just lots on the agenda.
Well, remind fans, too, like as you continue to identify those next athletes that'll come here and be student athletes, what do you look for? Like, what's the staff going and what's the assignment? What's the checklist, I suppose?
Sure. What's fun about our sport is that we have the 3 different positions. However, you can have someone who specializes in just one. For example, our Acro 5 pair, the 2 freshmen, Angelica Martin and Cassidy Koo, they both came from acrobatic gymnastics, which is something that we're really interested in now and really diving into and trying to make those relationships with those different gyms and, athletes. And, so they're both specialists. So Angelica's a base, Cassidy's a top, obviously. But then you can have those athletes that are all-around athletes who maybe touch a little bit of every single position. So we're really looking for athleticism. We're looking for someone who, like I said, is going to work really hard. And we typically recruit from competitive cheerleading, acrobatic gymnastics, and artistic gymnastics.
And continuing to grow the sport, too. Like, I asked you this, I remember, last year, and I'm curious if the answer has changed now this year. Like, do you have to spend as much time explaining it when you're out on the recruiting trail as you used to maybe even 5 years ago?
Thankfully, no.
That's great.
We do still do a lot of education, though.
Sure.
But it is significantly less, which is really cool to me. What is also kind of fun, though, is that when you get to the gyms or the showcases that athletes have never heard about it, you do get the opportunity to kind of frame it in a way that is that they're building history, and they're paving the way, and it can sound a little fairy tale-esque,
it's like
if you will.
Movie script, right? Kind of thing. Yeah.
But it is true. I go back to when I first started and was recruited here. There were like 10 schools, 10 to 14 maybe. And now we're at 60 plus trying to get championship status with the NCAA. So the growth is there, and you are paving the way whether you think you are or not. And so just getting those athletes on board, or even just, having an interest, is something really special too.
Taylor Susnara, Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling head coach. When we return, continuing our conversation, previewing next year for Acro and Tumbling after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
With a great selection of new Toyotas, everyone knows your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer, even your pet parrot.
Right, the summer starts here.
Well said.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 2nd.
Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
With a great selection of new Toyotas, everyone knows your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer, even your pet parrot.
Right, the summer starts here.
Well said.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 2nd.
Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I look through his eyes. I can envision a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 6 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Stuck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Oregon softball's in action. Also, we're looking ahead to Oregon Acrobatics Tumbling next year. Part 2 of our conversation with the head coach, Taylor Susnara. You talk about, like, too, the building of the sport. Here we are with another senior class that did just that for you. I mean, just to review, like, I know it's always bittersweet, right? It's always bittersweet, like we talked about for, like, senior day, but now you've actually had to say goodbye to this group, just the legacy that they left and now moving ahead without them.
Sure. Yeah, this class, they're my babies. They're my first, class through and through, freshman to senior year. And so it hits a little bit differently, I think. And they were just a really talented group, a really fun group, a group that was able to lead with grace in class. And that's really something that I have found special about them. And they all work super hard. And so they just set a really good example of, what I want out of our program and what I hope that we can continue to develop through the years. Because they're going to be missed for sure.
It was your first group. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I was thinking, like, did that hit you different just because it was the first one that you had spent the entire 4 years with?
Totally. I was talking to one of them and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, you got me when I was fresh.
Right.
Fresh in the coaching role. So
that's true.
They've seen me grow. I've seen them grow. So I just think that we have a unique bond.
Where have you grown the most as a coach since, like, you recruited them day one until you said goodbye to them here this past week?
Still growing.
Yeah. I mean, everybody should. Hey, lifelong learners, right? Lifelong
totally.
learners. Yeah.
I think where I've grown the most since, day one of my head coaching role started is just my knowledge and how I educate and coach with that knowledge. I have a lot to give, and I think I have a unique skill set in the sense that I've done this sport, I was an assistant, and now I'm here. And not a lot of coaches get to say that. A lot of them go straight from, athlete to head coach or whatever it may be. And so I like to think that my experience has shaped me into a really good coach, but someone that still has a lot of room to grow. And I just think that I've kind of found my style, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're an assistant and you get into your groove and you're kind of following coach's role, and then now you're a head coach and you got to kind of find your own mojo, so to speak.
Well, that's interesting because I could run the data, but I'm just going to make a claim that you can probably back up here. Like, the average age of the head coaches in your sport have got to be the youngest in any sport out there, right? Because the sport is younger.
Totally.
And so in order to have had that experience in the sport, like, that has to be true. Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine it not being
right.
true.
And that's kind of a unique, I'd imagine, challenge. But to your point, like, that's kind of cool, right? Like, because you competed against a lot of the people that you're now coaching against.
Yeah, it's a unique role to step into. I mean, we're all super passionate about the sport. That's why we want to stay involved. You want to coach these, young adults, and thankfully for them, they also get to grow with us. And so I think it's something really special, at least for me, that I appreciate in the sense that they're patient with me. We have an open dialogue. I just constantly in the beginning have asked for feedback. And I have found that that's been really beneficial in kind of building that trust and that relationship with them. you know, and just owning that we're not perfect and
Sure.
we all have stuff to work and improve on, but it's definitely rewarding.
Improvement now into the off season, some postseason practices that you all get to do now, right?
Yeah. So we are one of the only quarter system schools
Right.
in acrobatics and tumbling.
Right.
So we have the, you know, I don't know what you would say. We start later in the fall than everyone else.
That's right.
But we get to go longer in the off season. And so we really use this time in the next couple of weeks to just kind of see what the team is like without that senior class. You know, who's going to step up in leadership roles, who's going to fulfill maybe some of the roles that those seniors held previously, getting, you know, some of our athletes who maybe didn't get to compete in bigger roles, and then kind of just really prepping for the fall term as we bring in our newcomers.
New group coming in. What can you tell us?
They're good. They're really good. They work really hard, like I said. And I'm really excited for the group to come in. We kind of have a mix of gymnasts, cheerleaders, acrobatic gymnasts. And they're all really good people, come from good families. And so I'm just excited to kind of get them incorporated because they're all already like, Coach, what can we do? What do we need to, you know, see? What do you need to see? Which is exciting for me. You know, because they're eager and they want to be good.
It's like the coach's dream right there. Coach, what can I do? Right? I mean, doesn't get much better than that.
No, it's good.
You know, it's interesting, too. A fan actually asked me this, like, how the transfer portal has impacted every sport. And it occurred to me that I don't know the answer to that question as probably as much as I should for your sport. How much has it changed your sport? Has it at all?
You know, thankfully, we haven't been impacted by it too much, at least in our program. But I do know that other programs, you know, athletes are entering the portal, and, you know, it's been to our advantage, I'd say, you know, being able to kind of recruit from there as well, whereas before we didn't have that.
Right.
And so it is showing that there is growth, and I'd imagine over the next, you know, few years it may start to impact our program more. You know, unfortunately, one of our acro schools shut down, Limestone, and so all of their athletes are trying to find a new home.
Right.
And, you know, so I think that's where the portal can be helpful.
No doubt.
But yeah, it's starting to impact us, but I wouldn't say negatively. Yeah.
I mean, that's again, that speaks to the growth of the sport, right? Like as it continues. On that note, too, like I think it's always good to ask you this: what is next, right? Where is that? You talked about like becoming an NCAA championship-sponsored sport. So where are we? Give fans the update heading into the offseason.
We're close. I think, you know, it's hard to say exactly, you know, what year we might have our first NCAA-hosted championship. But I'm really hopeful within the next, like, 2 to 5 years that we're going to get there. You know, we've hit our numbers of, you know, having 40 competing institutions, and we're just trying to kind of tie up some loose ends here and there as far as numbers go with participants and things. But, you know, we're right there, and the NCATA staff has worked extremely hard, and I'm super grateful for that, and that they're behind the scenes putting in all that work for us to be able to do what we do. And so I'm excited for the growth, and I'm hopeful that we'll get to be a part of that first championship here soon.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Final thoughts for Taylor Susnara, talking acrobatics and tumbling. A camp coming up. You get to host your own camp coming up in June, I believe, right?
July. Close.
I was close.
Yes, our Elite Skills Camp, and that is, like we said, in July. We have 60 participants who are able to be a part of that. It's a fun 3-day camp. All of us coaches are there. We'll have, you know, 8 of our student athletes volunteering to help out. And it's just a chance to learn about acro, a little bit of the history of the sport, get to see some of the facilities that our athletes use every single day, and hopefully make some friends along the way.
That's got to be fun for your student athletes.
Totally. They love it. I don't even have to beg them to do it. They just volunteer.
That's cool. I mean, you know, because you talk about being like an ambassador of the sport. That's what you've been. Now you're asking them to be. That's pretty sweet. All right. What we miss? Anything else fans should know?
I don't think so.
Okay. The jersey still looks good back there.
It does.
Yeah. 20 is a good number.
Fabulous number.
Good number. Some championships in that number.
Totally.
Taylor Susnara, our guest. Thank you.
Thank you.
It'll be acrobatics and tumbling season again before we know it. Thanks to Taylor Susnara for joining us. Time out when we come back, wrapping up Duck Insider for today on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Wrapping up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you on the Oregon Sports Network and in the Country Financial Studio. Duck baseball with 2 midweek wins over St. Mary's last night. Now Oregon baseball gets ready for Washington. There's going to be a fan fest on Friday beginning at 3 o'clock all around PK Park, getting ready for what should be a lot of fun against the Huskies. Ducks are hunting for a Big Ten championship. Washington's right behind them in the conference standings. This means a lot for your postseason resume. It certainly means a lot for the rivalry. And as you head toward postseason play now, games like this really matter because home games will really matter when the committee is evaluating everything that you need for a regional hosting scenario. 6 o'clock on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and then noon on Sunday, the first pitch for Duck baseball. Oregon softball's in action in the Big Ten tournament. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, it's the early going. We'll have a full review of the first postseason game for Oregon softball on the program tomorrow. Track and field's in action this weekend, too. We'll break it all down. See you tomorrow.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that
you got it.
When you're driving and when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving and when you're going from point A to B. I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted.